Hey cutie, so this is like the first basic twerk move. So this is what you do. You stand with your legs apart, you bend your legs, and then you arch your back, and you arch it. You do it faster.
And I fire about 4 times, and I don't know where she gets hit, but I know it's somewhere in the torso area, and she falls like a cut right. They were the first immediate human targets in my sight.
In this day and age, online influencers have a larger and more powerful platform than ever before. With social media being such a major aspect of many people's lives, it's no surprise why many young and impressionable people look at big-name influencers and want to be like them. The only problem is that many teens don't realize that just because someone is famous on the internet does not mean that they are a good person or someone that you should strive to be like. Some influencers from the past, and even some from more recent years, have gotten away with some horrific things, but few of them have done anything as bad as the influencers from this video. The following stories tell the tale of 3 famous influencers who learned that they would be getting major prison time for their truly awful crimes.
Yo, what's up guys? Did you like that trendy hip hop beat? I know you did, and if you didn't, well, I made it in like 5 minutes, and I'll try better next time. It's been a while since I've made a video about anything at all, so hi, I'm here, I'm alive, I'm well.
Those who are familiar with the early days of YouTube might remember Austin Jones. Austin was a very popular musician and YouTuber who was active on the platform between 2007 and 2017. He had more than 500,000 subscribers and was known for making covers of top hit songs. Some of the bands that he was particularly known for doing covers of were 21 Pilots and My Chemical Romance. Austin's fanbase was largely made up of young and impressionable girls, many of whom were minors. These girls idolized Austin and would do anything to get his attention. Some of them would even send Austin revealing pictures of themselves through social media. All of the adoration must have gone to Austin's head because he began to act as if the law didn't apply to him and started engaging in very inappropriate conversations with these young girls. He would message girls asking them to make provocative videos for him and send them to him. He would even give them special instructions for what he wanted them to say and how he wanted them to dance. Check out this message conversation that was later leaked between Austin and a young girl. Not only is it super creepy and awkward, but it's easy to tell that the young girl is being manipulated. Austin assures her that he won't show the video she sends him to anyone else and that he will delete it right away. Now, you need an intro to the video. At the beginning, get super close and say these lines. Hey Austin, it's, and this butt is years old, and then make it clap for 30 seconds. Got it? Okay, so this is a real thing and you won't post it anywhere? Right, I delete them after I score them. In comparison to some of the other text messages from Austin, that one would probably be considered pretty mild. They seemed to get weirder and weirder the longer that Austin was able to get away with these super inappropriate conversations. In your honest opinion, do you think your butt is good enough to give guys? Yeah, I have given guys with it many times. It hasn't given me a yet. That's why I'm concerned. I guess try harder. Add more lines while you bounce if you think that'll help. So obviously Austin is a total creep, but many of the young girls who he was talking to like this were not old enough to understand that they were being preyed upon. At this point, Austin was 23 years old, and many of the girls he was talking to were only 13 or 14 years old. Austin knew how young these girls were, and if anything, their youth excited him all the more. He liked that they were young and innocent and that they looked up to him. Some of the girls didn't know how to dance in the provocative way that he wanted, and so he would send them videos to use as an example. Check this out. This is an actual video that Austin would send to kids.
Hey cutie, so this is like the first basic twerk move. So this is what you do. You stand with your legs apart, you bend your legs, and then you arch your back, and you arch it. You do it faster, so it's like this. Now it's your turn.
So clearly, this is some pretty disturbing, cringy stuff. And yet, Austin totally seemed confident that he was going to get away with it because he had multiple videos like this. But eventually, Austin's creepy behavior did catch up to him. When people found out about the kind of videos he was sending and the conversations he was having, he ended up getting called out for it. This was during the years before the term canceled had become a real movement, but basically that is what was happening to Austin, and he knew it. So in a desperate attempt to save his career and reputation, he made an apology video and shared it online. He basically took no accountability for what he did and pretended to be the victim. This is how the video starts out.
Hi guys. I know a lot of you probably have some really harsh and negative opinions towards me right now, and I understand why you do. But I'm asking you to please put those opinions aside for a few minutes and listen to everything I have to say. And if by the end of the video you still have the same opinion, then so be it. But at least you will have your opinion based off of the full story and the truth. I've recently come under some fire on social media for mistakes I've made in the past.
Austin explains that he used to ask girls for inappropriate dancing videos. While he seems to acknowledge that this was wrong, he immediately goes on to say that the internet only found out about his bad decisions because a fellow YouTuber exposed him.
This really blew up online when a YouTuber and someone that's very popular on social media somehow found this out and decided to blast it out there. I'm not going to say any names because I've come under attack on social media from my name being spread around, and I don't want to put that on anyone else.
Austin seems to be acting like he's doing the person who exposed his bad behavior a favor by not making their name public, when really the only person who has done anything wrong here is him. He goes on to say that aside from those cringe videos he sent, he never did anything else inappropriate.
What I want to do is set the record straight. Since this started online, there are a lot of rumors and a lot of lies. They're just not true. Nothing ever went further than twerking videos. There were never any nudes, never any physical contact. It never happened. So I just have to get that out there because nothing ever went further.
Later in the video, Austin starts talking about losses he's experienced in his life, like the loss of his sister and his grandfather. He tries to blame these things and the fact that he hadn't healed from them for being why he felt the need to take part in this immoral and inappropriate behavior.
All of these life events, all of these deaths, this loss, left me with a really deep depression, and I was an insecure, depressed guy, and I began searching for attention in the wrong ways, asking fans for those things. It was because I was desperate for attention.
It seemed like he had excuse after excuse for why he behaved the way he did.
I was desperate for reassurance. I wanted to feel good about myself. At the time, I thought it was just fun and goofy, you know? I was young, I was stupid. I wasn't thinking clearly.
But a lot of the sort of things that Austin had been doing were not just fun and goofy. They were illegal. He seems to think that he has already been punished enough because of the supposed guilt this whole thing has caused him and the way that his name has been dragged through the mud.
It has been something that's eaten me alive for quite some time. The guilt has been piling up for months. I mean, it's constant guilt. It sits and festers in my stomach, and it wouldn't go away. And this is before it became public a month ago. This is something that I've regretted for a long time.
Austin tells his fans that he's been putting in the work to better himself and that he has made a lot of progress. He says that he's been going to therapy and owning up to his mistakes and that he will never do anything like this ever again.
I hope that at least some of you will possibly forgive me. And if you don't forgive me, at least maybe give me a chance, because I am so much better than the terrible decisions I made when I was desperate for attention. I'm better than that. I'm a different person. I've completely changed from all of that. I don't know how to show you guys that, but I think with time, you'll see. You'll see that I'm better now.
Austin ends the video by calling out his haters and all the people that had been leaving comments, basically just calling him out for all of his predatory behavior. He tells them to find something better to do with their time.
I'd recommend you to find something more positive to do with your time, as opposed to tear me down. I'm already fighting a daily battle, and you can choose to add to it, but I'm not gonna give up because of your words. So once again, I'm moving forward. And I'll see you guys soon. I'm truly sorry, and thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
So now the biggest question was, would the internet cancel Austin for his creepy behavior, or would his fan base buy his apology and decide to forgive him? Maybe there were some young and impressionable teens that found it in their heart to forgive him, but the legal system certainly did not. There was an investigation launched into Austin's behavior, and it turned out that despite what he had claimed during his apology video, things had gone further than just what he admitted to. He had convinced an underage child to send him inappropriate images, and before long, he found himself in a major legal mess. He had probably assumed that people would just forgive him after he made that apology video and talked about all the hard circumstances he had to go through in his life. But the reality is that going through bad times doesn't make it okay for you to commit crimes, and especially not crimes against children. In June of 2017, a search warrant was issued and carried out inside of Austin's Illinois home. He was later arrested at the airport. After eventually managing to post a large bond, Austin was released and allowed to live with his mother while he stayed on house arrest and awaited his trial. He was told that during that time, he was not allowed to use the internet at all. In February of 2019, 2 years after his arrest, Austin pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to 10 years behind bars.
YouTube star with a large teenage following is headed to prison. A judge sentenced Austin Jones to 10 years behind bars. The 26-year-old singer pleaded guilty to child pornography back in February. Jones, who is from Bloomingdale, was accused of coercing 6 underage fans to send him sexually explicit videos.
June 28th of 2019 was set to be Austin's first day of his 10-year sentence. He was allowed to stay on house arrest until that day. As of January 2024, Austin remains behind bars. He calls the Federal Correctional Institution of Loretto in Pennsylvania his home. This is a low-security, all-male prison. The earliest that Austin could be a free man again is the year 2027. Do you think that this sentence that he received was fair considering everything he did? Let us know your opinion in the comments. In recent years, TikTok stars have risen to fame and then seemingly disappeared without a trace for a lot of different reasons. But most of the time, it's because they did something to get canceled, not because they got sentenced to prison, like the one from this story. Mahek Bukhari of Leicester, England, was 22 years old when she made a name for herself on TikTok. One of the videos she was most known for was this one with the caption, "When you have an elite relationship with your mom." Mahek's mother, Ansarine, was a big fan of her daughter's online fame and would often participate in her videos. Before long, Mahek had quite a big following online with nearly 129,000 followers and 3.2 million likes. She was getting paid promotions and product launch events, which helped her bring in a major cash flow. Just like any other online star, she had her fair share of controversies from time to time, which she talked about in an interview she did. But her career continued to grow steadily. Mahek also had a lot of online admirers, but some of these men didn't just have an eye for her, they were attracted to her mother as well. One of these men was 21-year-old Saqib Hussein, and when Saqib and Ansarine met in 2019, it started a chain of events that would later lead to tragedy. The attention and admiration that Saqib gave Ansarine, even though she was much older than him, made her feel really good about herself. They started video chatting and meeting up at different places like hotels and restaurants. Before long, they began a full-on affair that lasted for about 3 years. Eventually, Ansarine must have come to her senses and realized that what she was doing was wrong. For years, she had been lying to her husband, but not only that, there just wasn't going to be a future with her and Saqib, and so she decided to try to end things with him. But Saqib did not take this news well at all. He had fallen in love with her and begged her to stay with him. When she still would not change her mind, Saqib decided to take to desperate measures. He told Ansarine that if she didn't stay with him, he was going to send explicit pictures that they had taken together to her husband. Then, not only would her husband know about the affair, but her marriage would probably end as well. The possibility of all of this happening must have been too much for her, because she decided that the only thing that would fix this whole situation would be to get Saqib out of the picture altogether. Mahek knew about her mother's situation and thought she could help. So she went to one of her friends, Rakan Karwan, and together they came up with a dark and disturbing plan to kill Saqib. Rakan must have thought that they would need help to pull this off, so he enlisted 4 other people who agreed to join. This included his cousin, Amir Jamal, and 3 friends, Sanaf Gulasamafda, Natasha Akhtar, and Mohammed Patel. The plan was to arrange for a meeting with Saqib in a parking lot of a local supermarket by bribing him with money. Then they would ambush him. Saqib ended up agreeing by asking one of his friends, Hashim Izujadin, to go with him and drive him there. On the night of the ambush, he arrived at the set location on time, just like it had been planned, and the group of people that had been a part of the plan, including Mahek and Ansarine, had divided into two different cars, one of which was a shiny Audi TT. It was only minutes after Saqib and Hashim had arrived that they realized that they had been set up, and something was horribly wrong. They quickly drove away, but the others followed close behind them, driving recklessly. A dangerous, fast-paced car chase began, and Saqib, clearly terrified, tried to alert the authorities to get some help. Unfortunately, nothing could be done in time. He and Hashim's vehicle was forced off the road, and the chase ended in a fiery crash. Both of the young men were killed. Through surveillance footage, law enforcement was able to get license plate numbers of those involved, and before long, Mahek, Ansarine, and the others were arrested. They were charged with 2 counts of murder. Mahek lied and lied to the police in order to protect herself. At one point, she said she wasn't even in town on the night of the murders because she had been away at a social media event, but it wasn't hard for law enforcement to see through her lies. 18 months went by before the group eventually went to trial for the murder of Saqib and Hashim. The jury had to deliberate for 28 hours before they finally came to a unanimous decision and found both Mahek and her mother guilty of murder. They came to the same conclusion for Rakan and Reyes. The other 3 were only convicted of manslaughter. At just 24 years old, Mahek was sentenced to 31 years plus 8 extra months behind bars. Her mother was sentenced to 26 years and 9 months. While the sentences won't bring the 2 victims back, it's safe to say that they at least got justice. For Mahek and Ansarine, their days of TikTok fame are now over.
Hi everybody, I'm Mr. Anime, and boy, do I have a show for you. Let's go.
During the early days of YouTube, Trey Sesler, who went by Mr. Anime online, had a pretty wholesome online presence, but his life would later take a dark and incredibly disturbing turn. It may even make you think differently about the secret lives of the influencers you look up to the most.
This is just an update video to let you guys know that I'm going to reward myself with probably a 2 or 3 week break coming up here from YouTube videos, anime reviews in particular. I might do some blog stuff. I want to thank you guys a lot for sticking with me and watching the channel.
While Trey may have been a pretty geeky guy in a lot of people's opinions, he had built a good online fan base for himself, and there were a lot of people who enjoyed his content. He made comedic skits and posted reviews about anime.
I got more subscribers than ever. I have more views than ever, and everything is going really good.
Trey came from a pretty average middle-class typical family home. His father was a teacher and his mother worked for the local newspaper. Trey also had an older brother named Mark. When the kids were still young, the family got along pretty well, but as Trey grew older and became more and more obsessed with the internet, tension began to build, especially between him and his dad. Trey ended up dropping out of college and spent a lot of time making his videos online. His father wasn't happy with what Trey was doing with his life, and it was a subject that led to a lot of heated arguments between the two of them. Around town, and even within his own family, Trey began to be known as an outcast. In an interview from years later, one of Trey's aunts would admit that she found him to be very odd, and she was concerned about him. But she didn't want to offend Trey's parents by bringing it up to them. Trey began his YouTube channel in September of 2006. In the beginning, he was very real with his audience. He didn't try to put on any type of mask or appear to be someone that he wasn't. In this clip, he was reviewing a new game.
There it is, Evangelion. And right off the bat, I gotta say that I really love the box it comes in. I mean, look at this. It's hard 10 individual DVDs. I mean, this is probably one of the best box covers I've ever seen.
It was pretty normal, casual stuff. People trusted him and his opinion about anime. In fact, even people who weren't that into anime knew who he was and what kind of videos he made.
Some of you may say something like, you know, Mr. Anime, please, give any actor a break, you know? But no, if he'd have given me a break 100 damn episodes ago, it wouldn't be a problem. But the show keeps going, It's obnoxious. It gets annoying. Naruto never dies. In the movies, he never dies. In the manga, he's still not dead. What else is there to say?
As time went on, Trey would sometimes discuss different current events that were going on throughout the United States and give his opinion on them. In particular, he would discuss firearms being used in schools and all the violence that had taken place recently.
Hey everybody, Season 2 here, and today I'm ranting on something a little bit, right? Yes, I'm ranting on something a little bit anime unrelated. I'm ranting on all the shootings that have been happening. I'm a firearms owner myself, but it is a little bit disturbing to know that you could be a victim in something like this at these times.
He seemed to be legitimately concerned about the issue.
All the people that were victims, you think it won't happen to me, but sometimes it does. But seriously, every day I open Yahoo, I'm like, well, time to see what today's shooting is, and hey, there's another one. So I don't know when it's gonna stop.
But before long, Trey's content just kept getting darker and darker. Some of the things that he said were truly bizarre.
Feet, he fell in mud. It's funny. And there was a little girl who was trying to follow us, and she almost fell and broke her neck, and I would have filmed it. And then I would have helped. Not like most cameramen where they keep filming accidents and they don't help.
And then, to the horror and disgust of the people watching, Trey began to include small and defenseless animals in odd skits he was doing, like a bunny and a gerbil.
Are out of here. You are gone. Leave my place.
These were his own family pets.
Whatever. Are you go home? Yeah, you're going home.
It seemed like he was suggesting that he was taking the animals off screen so that he could hurt them. Things got even more concerning when Trey began drinking heavily while he was filming his videos. Rumors began spreading around town that he had been spotted at night running around with a firearm and killing animals just for fun. Meanwhile, Trey continued to post YouTube videos, but began to hint at this big project that he was supposedly planning and that he was going to share with his viewers later on.
Well, hi everybody, it's Mr. Anime here, and I'm recording on my MacBook's web camera, and my MacBook's from like 4 years ago, so the web camera's not that great, so you'll have to bear with me.
What nobody could have known at the time was that what he was planning was a horrific, bloody massacre. On May 19th of 2012, Trey did the unthinkable by destroying his entire family. In the early morning hours of the day, he called his mom out into the garage. When she got there, he fired at her multiple times, killing her on the spot. His dad and brother had been sleeping upstairs at the time. Trey's brother Mark heard the noise caused by the firearm and it woke him up. As soon as Trey saw him, he fired at him, striking him in the head. Trey heartlessly left his brother dying on the ground and went upstairs to his parents' bedroom to finish off the only surviving family member, his dad. While this was going on, Mark, just barely alive, was able to drag himself into a nearby bathroom and lock himself inside. Sadly, it would not be enough to protect himself from his evil brother, the same person who he had once considered his closest friend. After killing his whole family, Trey either went completely crazy or wanted to try to convince other people that he had, because he went around writing messages all over his house. He wrote them in big letters on the walls and the doors. It was things like, "I will never forgive my state of mind. Never. No one will forgive me. Not even me. And I will never forgive myself. I don't know why I did this. God, help me." Once Trey had finished writing the disturbing messages all over the house, he grabbed his weapon, got into his car, and fled the scene of the crime. But Trey probably hadn't realized that neighbors had heard the commotion coming from his home and called 911, so law enforcement was already on their way. Before long, Trey was found hiding at a friend's house and charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder.
Friends, I'm Dave Ward.
I'm Adelia Cheetah in for Gina Gaston. Investigators say under questioning, Sesler admitted to committing several crimes.
While in custody, he told detectives what had happened. He explained that his plan for this massacre wasn't to stop after just killing his brother and parents. He wanted to go out and take more innocent lives.
Fire about 4 times, and I don't know where she gets hit, but I know it's somewhere in the torso area, and she falls.
Can you imagine talking this way about your own parents? This is clearly one sick and twisted individual. To him, it was like his family members weren't even people, but more of those who were in his way. One of the places he planned to go was a school. and he had been hoping to kill at least 70. He had thought it all out and really thought he would be able to accomplish it. Trey made a list of disturbing statements to law enforcement, but one of the creepiest was that he said that he would protect his family with his life from other people, but if anyone was to ever hurt them, he had always known that it would be him. He also said that part of the reason that he had decided to kill his family right away before anyone else was so that they would never have to suffer with being associated with him or carry any guilt. In his eyes, killing them first had been an act of kindness.
I'm already committed, really. Can't really go to my brother and my dad and be like, yeah, I just killed our mom.
Like a lot of wannabe serial killers, Trey was disturbingly obsessed with the horrific events at Columbine High School. He admired those two killers and wanted to outdo them by killing even more people and taking their spot as the worst killer to ever target children. After he had finished killing his family, that was actually what he had set out to go do. But after he arrived at the school where he had planned for the massacre to take place, the reality of what he had done and was planning to do began to sink in. He got scared and could not get himself to follow through with the plan.
There's my opportunity. Go ahead, go get him.
That was when he ended up going to the friend's house where he stayed until law enforcement found him, just 24 hours after the murders took place. On August 2nd of 2012, Trey pleaded guilty to all of the charges against him. Because of this, there was no trial needed. He was convicted and sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. In the past, some rumors have circulated saying that Trey was killed by another prisoner who wanted to take justice into their own hands. But that was later proven to be made up. So for now, Trey is believed to be behind bars, where he will stay until the end of his life. Did you know any of these influencers before they committed these crimes? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.